So, good evening, everyone. My name is Harsh, and I am the project admin and mentor for NewsFresh, which is a part of P Club Summer of Code. So, let me start off with this presentation. So, the basic agenda of this project is to create a full stack web application that is powered by machine learning APIs, which can be used to detect fake news. So, fake news is a menace that is like plaguing social media and even the government of many countries. And no matter how much we are trying to combat this, it is simply spreading up in the current society. So previously, many statistical tools and machine learning models has been developed so that we can combat fake news, but they have not been much reliable. So in this project, what we are doing is that we are picking up an entire machine learning pipeline, and we are developing an end-to-end machine learning project, which can be used to detect fake news and misinformation with a gamified experience. So the basic motivation for this project is to develop an end-to-end machine learning application, and for the mentees to exactly understand the nuances behind developing an end-to-end machine learning model, like right from the dataset collection to dataset pre-processing, then the model developing, and finally to the deployment. We also wanted to implement a user-friendly interface and to implement a gamified experience so that even the common citizens can come up and they can make this fact-checking a game. And finally, I wanted the mentees to understand NLP to depth and the various metrics around it so that they can get started with some more advanced NLP projects. So the technology stack that we used for this project has been Django for backend development, scikit-learn for data modeling, Bootstrap, HTML and CSS for user interface development, MySQL for data storage, and Flask for API prototyping. So the thought process that went behind this project was to find the right data set for our purpose, then to pre-process the data set and prepare various models whose performance metrics can be compared against each other. Then we wanted to implement a minimalistic user interface. We don't want a very heavy user interface. And finally, we wanted a basic functionality of predicting the authenticity of the news, depending on the previous data set that has been processed. So finally, we have an implementation of a one-stop portal where we can go up and post a news article, like basically a news link. And what it will do is that it will scrap up the content, the title, the keywords, and it will be used to compare to the previous data set that we have processed and to predict if the news is authentic or not. And finally, we have been able to implement gamified experience using Bootstrap so that we can take some sort of a user opinion on the authenticity of this news. So this project is still not ready. So basically we have an MVP ready, and this is what we are going to demonstrate. So the future plan of this project is to add a backend database for this purpose. So right now we are using MySQL just for taking the upvotes and the downvotes from the user. It is not doing much of the functionality because we didn't get much time. Also, we want to take a look at how we can use graph databases like Neo4j, which is exactly able to map the relationships between multiple nodes and vertices so that we can compare the authenticity of the news. And finally, we would like to improve the user interface with a modern front-end library. So let's take a look at the working demo. Since my mentee is not present, so I will just show up a recording from his side, and this is it. It has no sound, so basically we prototyped the application first in Flask, and later we moved to Django for our purpose because the original project was in Django. Okay. So basically, this is the application that we have developed using Bootstrap UI. So we can take up a news, and then we can just copy up the link and go to our dashboard. We can post our link, and finally we can submit this up. So one of the major difficulties that we faced was to actually combat this loading time. So the loading time issue has still not been fixed, and in the last week of this PSoC, we started using some other API testing tools like Locust to see on what exactly is the error. But since we were not able to find it out, we just kept it for the purpose of the future implementation. So there is some sort of the issue with the model preparation, like it is not very much reliable for the Indian news data sets, because the existing data set was taken from Western news sources. And finally, we have this gamified experience through which people can upvote or downvote a particular news, and they can voice their opinion on what they think about this. So this is something like a crowdsource option, so that they can like express their opinion, and a new data set can be generated out of this. So this is the whole implementation of this project. There is still much to be done, but we are hopeful for the future. Thank you. The project is still not open source. Like we have made a contribution on a private repository. So I will do that by evening today.
Okay, so are there any questions for News Fresh?
So do you have any questions? I guess we have no questions. Thank you to the organizing team of PSoC for giving us this opportunity to contribute to open source and to mentor first-time contributors. So thank you for making a part of this, and thank you for giving this proposal a chance.
Great
Thank you,
work,
everyone.
Harsh.